Show with Bruce Whitfield on Talk Radio 702, your number one news and talk station.
We don't usually do other people's awards on this show. There's CFO awards and marketing awards and business awards coming out of our ears, and 99% of them, quite frankly, are aimed purely at getting airtime and marketing the runway for the people who are organizing the awards. That's the only reason they do them, not because they necessarily want to recognize the brilliance of other people. But one set of awards that has come across our desk, which looks interesting, is the Integrated Reporting Awards. These are for state-owned companies. It's all about issues of sustainability and good governance, which in the real world is quite boring, but without sustainability and good governance guidelines, business falls apart. South African business is in far better shape today because of the King 3 code and because of sustainability and because of the guidelines that are created. And so I'm guessing that's what Nkonki has hoped to do through the promotion of sustainability for state-owned companies. Sindi Zilwa is the chief executive of Nkonki and on the line to us from Johannesburg. How many state-owned companies do you consider, Sindi, when it comes to awards like this?
Bruce, what we've done is we've considered the Schedule 2 state-owned companies, and there are 20 in total. So those are the companies that we looked at, and these we consider they are the crown jewels of South Africa because collectively they control assets of more than 947 billion and generate a turnover of more than 275 billion. So we thought if we can zoom in there and be able to come up with an award that can actually encourage transparency and interlinkages in their reporting, we will have achieved a lot, not only for state-owned companies, but for all the stakeholders who are actually relying on those financial statements.
Because the state-owned companies have been governed by different sets of rules over the years. There's, I forget what it's called now. My mind has gone blank. I'm having a senior moment, Cindy, as I talk to you. There's a piece of legislation within the state sector which sort of people always, the Public Service and Administration Act or something along those lines, which people in state-owned enterprises always refer to. When you try and throw King 3 at them, they say, oh no, we operate by different guidelines. You're saying you need to operate more on corporate guidelines as large companies have to.
Yes, I would like to correct that, Bruce, because what happened is that when the King 2 code was actually introduced, the Department of Public Enterprises issued a protocol on corporate governance that prescribed that the King code is equally applicable to state-owned companies. Good. So that is the first part. And now when King 2 came in, then you actually take that implementation, it actually goes forward. So when we talk about integrated reporting, the disclosure requirements and where the world is going globally, so we're actually quite happy that the Department of Public Enterprises actually led the way. And basically the state-owned companies in South Africa have always liked to emulate best practice, whether it's in terms of accounting standards, they would apply IFRS even before it's applicable. And what's even exciting now is that we've got Eskom and Transnet who are also participating in the Global International Integrated Reporting Council pilot program. So in a way, they have moved beyond King 3. They have moved beyond the discussion paper framework, and they are participating in being role models and shaping the future of integrated reporting globally.
But this time last year, you wanted to have the top 10 of South Africa's state-owned companies. You could only find 3 that were worthy of the accolade, so you didn't have a top 10. This year, that number's grown to 7. Still, yes. It would seem as if the state-owned companies are struggling to come to terms with the basics of governance and integrated reporting.
We believe that when we started last year, the inaugural awards, everybody was taken by surprise because, yes, there was this thinking that it might not be applicable to them, but basically when we had that and we had the awards and only 3 companies qualified, we were equally depressed, but we're so happy today to learn that even the companies that were in the room, they were equally depressed because most of them this year, they drastically improved. As we are saying, we got 7, but even on the section awards, we had so many other companies that came through and worked out with a variety of certificates because we're actually encouraging everyone to increase their pockets of excellence. And you can only do that by incentivizing them where they've already achieved, then in a way they go out hoping for more. And what's exciting thing is that after these awards, there were 3 companies that are all publicly saying next year they are going for number 1. So which is really the challenge that we wanted to throw into them Because the moment they win that challenge, guess who wins? All of us in South Africa.
Of course, absolutely.
Because we'll have the state-owned companies' integrated reporting standards cannot be challenged by anybody.
Because here we've got, at the top of the heap, of course, there is Eskom, followed by Transnet, and then followed by Telkom.
Telkom is number 2.
Number 2 is Telkom. So just give me the order quickly.
The overall winner is Eskom, with a B rating, followed by Telkom, which is number 2, and also Transnet.
Okay. But we have seen the transformation since the days of Maria Ramos, where she had to go in, of course, and change Transnet radically during her time. Now, Brian Molefe has taken over at Transnet and is doing good things at Transnet. We see Brian Damas's work at Eskom bearing fruit as well, and the new board at Telkom. It certainly seems to be pulling in the right direction.
Yes, they are. And what you like is that when we focus on integrated reporting, we focus exactly on that story and the transparency of reporting and how everything is interlinking together, which is the strategy, the business itself, the risk, and the future outlook. Those are the key things that we actually look at. And we're quite happy that our top 2 winners, when you actually look into their reports, you do get a feel of the story, you get a feel of the things that actually keep them awake. And as an investor, if you actually use those financial statements, you should be well aware of what is taking you forward.
Sindi Zilwa, thanks for talking to us tonight, the Chief Executive of Nkonki, the Auditor General Terence Nombembe. Now, we always like to have an impartial arbitrator when it comes to awards, Terence. What is your sense? You were at the awards today. You gave the keynote address at these awards. You've expressed your frustration in the past on the financial management of government departments and municipalities. What about state-owned companies?
Indeed, Bruce, this is a step in the right direction, which as an audit office we're very happy with, because it is igniting a culture of excellence, which will enable us to also identify where our opportunities are and where our shortcomings are that we need to work on.
I mean, are you disappointed with the fact that last year there were 3 out of 10 that qualified even to be put on a short list of companies that were acceptable? This year that grows to 7. And we've got a total of something like 600 state-owned companies. This isn't a great sort of scorecard for the overall health of the state-owned sector, is it?
Yes. I think the starting point has got to be done on a measured basis, and we're happy that it is done at the right level in terms of what Cindy is saying, the focus at the level of the crown jewels. There certainly is one principle applicable to this matter, that is, as long as you get your basics right, you should be able to meet the requirements of proper reporting, which is, in this instance, integrated reporting. And I do believe that, any of the state-owned entities are worthy of being able to rise to this occasion. Once it's been perfected sufficiently, certainly our wish is that it should be extended, and it can in fact be extended to as many other state-owned entities as we possibly can, as I said in the function itself.
But what's your overall impression of the governance of state-owned entities? Are we on the correct track? Are we on the appropriate track? Are we doing better than we were, say, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, pick a time frame years ago?
Yeah. State-owned entities are certainly performing much better. I think if my numbers are still correct, they are sitting somewhere in around the 40%, around when it comes to our measure, which is clean audits. It's a higher level of performance. It's not alternate because we'd like to see a much more better performance when it comes to state-owned entities in this respect. But it is a start, and initiatives like these will certainly propel sustainability of that performance for the state-owned entities as well. And I'm very excited that it is happening, because it makes sure that this becomes a continuous effort to nurture this excellence rather than it happening only when the auditors are around.
Terence Nombembe, thanks very much. The Auditor General of South Africa on the line to us from Cape Town this evening. The thumbs up for the process, but some caution, I interpret, in there anyway, as to the level of compliance, the level of people grabbing governance by the horns and really inculcating it within the state-owned company sector. But at least there is an improvement. We're going in the right direction, slow but steady.